patients, I'm going to try to give you one or two messages on what to do in cardiogenic shock. And if by chance I do rather quickly in some of the slides, I really invite you to download these recommendations that came out the last year on acute heart failure and cardiogenic shock, where we put an algorithm showing that the patient can come to the ED and then in the ICU hemodynamically stable, but with some respiratory distress, and explain here how to manage acute heart failure without any hemodynamic instability. And we, in the same graph, we also show what to do with patients which are hemodynamically unstable. And you will see that they will start by the definition, which is sometimes difficult to understand for our young intensivists, is what is cardiogenic shock, what is low heart failure states. For intensivists, we most often see cardiogenic shock that is mostly related to acute myocardial infarction, and we see more and more patients coming in ICU related to a post-cardiac arrest. As I'm going to show you, there are several organ dysfunction. The main mechanism is ischemia, and death is related to multiple organ failure. Now, sometimes we can have some discussion with the cardiologist who may see cardiogenic shock, but see much more often the low cardiac output state, which is more a decompensation of a chronic heart failure, and it's really acute decompensated heart failure. Indeed, here we may have several organs that are altered, but here the main mechanism of organ dysfunction is congestion. And here it's mostly ischemia, and on the bottom, mostly congestion. I'm going to focus here on cardiogenic shock, and I will show you some data from our great network and my group on cardiogenic shock. The data I'm going to show you comes from this registry, CardShock, to show you that today the definition of cardiogenic shock is quasi-exclusively a clinical diagnosis. And I will try to show you at the end that we have some new input from biomarkers to try to improve this definition of cardiogenic shock. Then here is what you see in your daily practice: low systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Clinical findings are often cold periphery, confusion. That you can see here, except lactate, it's 99% clinical diagnosis. However, if I show you those clinical signs, and knowing that now we are putting more LVAD and ECMO, just looking on the clinical signs, it's hard to say this patient is very severe, we need to put an ECMO, or this patient is not so severe. Then again, coming back to our algorithm, in patients with cardiogenic shock, you see here that we said we need really to assess, to eliminate acute coronary syndrome, to put this patient in the cath lab, and then put him back in the ICU when this is treated. Cardiogenic shock is mostly organ dysfunction, as we said, 3 organ dysfunction, respiratory distress, acute kidney injury, and I'm going to focus in the next minutes on hyperperfusion and high lactates. As we recommended with ESICM and the guidelines that were published in 2014, we said invasive blood pressure, measuring cardiac output, and SVO2 measures are really important to follow, not only to diagnose cardiogenic shock, but also follow your treatments. As I'm going to show you in a minute, we have data to support the use of inotropes as a first-line therapy and vasopressors only when it is required. And I will show you data from my group showing that if you give only vasopressors, it could be healthy. But what is very important for young physicians is to explain that, as for antibiotics, by the way, when you give inotropes and vasopressors, you should already plan when you are going to stop them, because many of them are really harmful. And we should already plan, if the patient is stable, to wean inotropes and vasopressors. However, in some cases, despite those treatments, the patient is still unstable, and I will show you how we can go to the plan. Are all inotropes and vasopressors equal? Several years ago, an alarm HF database compared, using propensity score, many of those inotropes in close to 5,000 acute heart failure patients, including cardiogenic shock. And using propensity score, we could show that epinephrine, the use of epinephrine seems to be associated with a higher mortality, again using propensity score. In this paper in PLOS, we try to see how the people around the world are using those inotropes and vasopressors in cardiogenic shock. And to do this, we took 3 large databases to combine close to 1,000 cardiogenic shock. And we are surprised to see that, in fact, all around the world, people are using either a combination of either vasopressors alone, like epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine. And you see that almost 40% of the patients with cardiogenic shock received only those drugs, and you see that they received no inotropes. Then 400 patients over 1,000 received only vasopressors. And you see that the rest of the patients received a combination of vasopressors and inotropes. Did it make any difference in the short-term outcome? Here we have 30 days mortality. Here is the pooled data, and here is the propensity score. And you can see that in both graphs, the patients who received the combination of inotropes and vasopressors was associated at least with a lower mortality. Again, we are talking about cardiogenic shock, and the overall mortality is still very high, 70–80%. But those who got the combination had a significantly lower mortality compared to those who received only epinephrine or epinephrine or dopamine. And to try to assess those negative effects of vasopressors alone, or at least of epinephrine, we did this analysis that was published in the last year in critical care. Again, we took CardShock database, and we selected the patients who went through the cath lab and had the myocardial infarction and cardiogenic shock. And we could show, comparing patients receiving epinephrine to patients receiving the other vasopressors, that the patients receiving epinephrine, this was associated with a much higher mortality compared to the patient receiving other vasopressors. And the other graph at the right side, you can see that again, like we published before, patients combining inotrope and vasopressors, and I would say any of the inotropes, at least levosimendan and norepinephrine, dobutamine or norepinephrine, had the same mortality over 90 days. Then coming back to the first graph, the next question was again, why epinephrine in those patients with cardiogenic shock related to acute myocardial infarction, why epinephrine is so harmful on mortality? And to try to answer to this question, those patients had a Swan-Ganz, and those patients had every 12 hours biomarkers of heart and kidney measured. First, on the top, I'd like to show you what we see in our daily practice, which is looking on the screen of our patients, where they're giving adrenaline, and mostly noradrenaline, whether in our daily practice we see any difference. In fact, in our practice we never see a difference, or we hardly see a difference. And this is what we see here as well. Over the first 5 days, looking at the improvement in mean arterial pressure, or heart rate, or even cardiac index, we see no difference in patients receiving either epinephrine or norepinephrine. But the major difference comes here at the bottom when we measure troponin, NT-proBNP, and creatinine. And you can see here at the bottom left, troponin, and I'm sorry for those who are at the back of the room, but you can download the paper. You can see that the patients who did not receive epinephrine, troponin, again, we are talking about severe myocardial infarction and cardiogenic shock, and those patients receiving norepinephrine, troponin almost didn't change over the 5 days. However, patients who received epinephrine, within 24 hours, troponin increased by 5 to 20-fold greater than the patient receiving norepinephrine. Then clearly, they had a much higher level of myocardial ischemia. We saw exactly the same results with NT-proBNP, with a much higher level of NT-proBNP those receiving epinephrine. And we also saw clearly a much higher creatinine level in patients receiving epinephrine. Then we built the hypothesis that giving epinephrine, again, in patients with myocardial infarction and cardiogenic shock, worsened organ dysfunction within 24 hours after admission. Then again, This is reason why, and the recommendation we published in intensive care medicine, we said after invasive monitoring, we should first give inotrope and vasopressors if needed, and really think carefully if the patient is stable to try to remove those drugs. Now, if the patient is unstable, if the inotropes and the vasopressors do not work, we need to go quickly to plan B. But as I showed you earlier, it's very difficult, looking only on the clinical signs, to decide whether the patient is severe or not. And to try to see whether biomarkers can help, we published 2 papers. This paper came out in Annals of Internal Medicine at the beginning of this year. And I would like mostly to show you the lactate change comparing survivors and non-survivors. And really the big surprise, even for me, is to see that within the first 24 hours, although lactate was clearly higher at admission in non-survivors, you see that after 24 hours, you can make almost no difference in lactate level between survivors and non-survivors. In fact, when those patients are coming in our ICUs, we treat them, we see lactate going down, and again, within 24 hours, their lactate is back to normal and no difference between survivors and non-survivors. We measured bio-ADM at 48 hours, and we could see a difference between survivors and non-survivors. But maybe the most impressive results is this paper that was just accepted in critical care medicine. Here, we looked on the combination of NT-proBNP and ST2. Now, this didn't come out from the sky. This is because in acute myocardial infarction, it was shown without cardiogenic shock that this combination works rather well. Then we decided to test it, and we were highly surprised by the results. Here again, when you measure every 12 hours those 2 biomarkers, as early as 12 hours of admission, you can see that if the 2 biomarkers are low, the 90 days mortality is below 10%, and if the 2 biomarkers are high, the mortality is close to 80%. That by measuring the 2 biomarkers at any time during the course of the ICU stay, at any time, you can make a big difference. And you can really say whether the patient is going to survive or die. And interestingly, if you look at mean arterial pressure, heart rate, cardiac index, CVP, or lactate at any of the first 5 days, by far, you cannot predict as well as the 2 biomarkers together. And this is for us a good tool to try to indicate whether the patient with a high poor prognosis can go to another device. Then again, the main message, in patients with acute heart failure and no shock, it's mostly related to congestion when we have hemodynamic instability. In patients with cardiogenic shock, there is a clear low cardiac output and myocardial ischemia. We need to go to the cath lab. We need to combine the drugs starting with inotropes and at least not giving vasopressors alone. And we have 2 consecutive papers, including the one that was just accepted, to show that biomarkers can, on the top of clinical science, help guiding LVAD and ECMO. And at the end of the day, we need to run because time is muscle. Thank you so much.